Hello and welcome to episode 3, where we are continuing our design of a small programming language using the Ohm language library. So far, we've built a programming language in which programs are sequences of statements, but only two kinds of statements, print statements and variable declarations. We did create a rich set of operators with several levels of precedence and proper associativity. Our language is intended to be statically typed, so we have 4 different types at the moment, a number of keywords and string literals, floating point literals, and comments with // What our language currently lacks, though, is a rich set of statements. As we have only prints and variable declarations, we are missing if statements, while statements, and assignments. So let's get into those right now. Let's begin, as we always do, with example programs. So let's try out simple assignments. I think x is 3 is pretty good. In fact, let's start with the variable declaration. Let x be an int will be 20, for example, and then let's do an assignment statement, 3 times y. And in this little example here, we'll see, okay, right after x right here, it says instead of x, it's expecting something else. So wanted the input to end or wanted another statement to begin. We do not yet have assignment statements. So let's see what those things will. We know what they'll look like. They're an identifier, equal sign, and expression. So let's do that here. We want an identifier, an equal sign, an expression, and we'll end it again with a semicolon. And this one we will call an assignment. Okay. That actually passed right away. There seems not to be a lot that needed to be done. We've already defined identifier, already defined expression. So bam, there's our assignments. Okay, let's try a while loop. Okay, so how about this? While x is less than 3, something like that, we'll print the value 1, and then we'll assign x to x minus 1. Why not, right? So there we go. That's like a little while statement. And, after a curly brace, I don't think we want semicolons after that. So let's leave the semicolons off, and then we'll just put a print x here, just for good measure. So here's our little program. It looks like while expression, a block of statements. That's what we're going to do. So our while will look like this. While some conditional expression, while an expression, we'll do a block and no semicolon at the end of that block. Now, this is called a while. And what is a block? Well, a block would appear to be at least 2 semicolons. And inside, we have a sequence of statements inside. So one statement or multiple statements, I think we should allow empty blocks. I think empty blocks will be okay. So we should actually have a test for that before we get too far. While false, let's see if we can just allow an empty block. So let's put that in there as a test. Right now, everything's failing because we don't have a while in here. While is going to be a new keyword. So let's remember what we need to do and say while, not followed by an alphanumeric. And things looking okay here. So, things look more than okay. Everything seemed to have passed. Okay, I think we're really hitting our groove here, and we're getting kind of used to Ohm. That was not difficult at all. Let's now try an if statement. So if some expression is true, we'll do a block, and then optionally we need an else part. So optionally, let's do an else. And the interesting thing here about, well, actually, what's interesting? What's interesting is I'm not writing any tests. And that's kind of a bad thing. So let's add in a test. I want to be able to say things like, if true, do nothing. If false, we can say print 1. Else, maybe, yeah, I like to have an else part over there. I don't know, maybe let's print 2. So maybe we'll have an if. So that could be another block there. But actually, let's just do this part first. Else we'll put in a block. And we'll call that an if. And after that, it looks like we need an if and we need an else part in here. So let's put in our if is an if, not an alphanumeric, and what's the other one? Else. Else not followed by an alphanumeric. And we all greened up. So that's pretty good. But what I don't have in here is I don't have something like if grade is bigger than 90, print A. I think you know where this is going, don't you? Else if grade is bigger than 80, print B. Classic example, totally classic. 70, we'll print, let's do a C plus. Let's print C because, you know, C's get degrees, right? As they say. So here we have a case where, you know, for our after our if, we want to have an if part, optionally the else part at the end, but we have all these else ifs in the middle. So if, else if, else if, else if, else if, else if. But we see something interesting here that after this word else right here, we're expecting either an equal sign, don't know why, or a curly brace, because right now we say every time there's an else part, the else has to be followed by a block. So if an else has to be followed by a block, that means that we need curly braces right after the else. But I don't want to put a curly brace in here. I mean, I suppose I could put in a curly brace there, but then they would need to put a curly, I don't like it. It looks really, really ugly, right? I want the if to not, the else, I'm sorry, I want the else not to have to be followed by a curly brace. So what I can do though is to say, oh, you know what? This can be a block or it can be another if statement. Now for that to work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to siphon off the if statement into its own rule, if statement. And then the if statement can be now like this, if expression block, otherwise block or if statement can go here. Okay, now I don't have good syntax here. If expression block up because I need to have this else part is going to be optional. And look at all greened up. Don't you love it when that happens? That's why I like to write our examples first and get everything to match. So if expression block, else I could do a block or I can do another if statement. And that is what allows the if right here not to be enclosed in curly braces. So it's a nice little trick if you're using block-based languages or block structure languages, at least with curly braces. I think things look good. I do want to try one other thing. I want to try this. While x is less than 5, maybe print x or something like that. This is probably not good. And this does not pass. Now, should it pass? I mean, it's looking for an equal sign over here. Kind of find that interesting. Like what's actually happening over here? I mean, I see while looks like this is an identifier, right? Like if I said while x equals 2, is that, yeah, that's good, right? That's an assignment statement. What about what if I did this? No, see this is fine too. While, yeah, you know what? What I'm trying to show here is that I think this is kind of nice. Remember how while can't be followed by an alphanumeric? This is actually pretty nice. Remember that part about how we have to put a space in here to make things work? So this is green, but this is not green. That's done because of the way we said the while must not be followed by an alphanumeric. So that's actually pretty good here, right? But there's one thing that I would like to work on, and that is this. While should not really be a variable, right? I mean, it looks kind of funny to say, let while be a Boolean whose value is false. And yet this is all green and this works, but I don't want it to work, right? I don't want while to actually be an identifier. I want this to be a syntax error, basically, right? And I don't want to assign it. I don't want while or even float. Like right now, float is working, right? Same with if. I mean, this stuff looks kind of silly. It looks really silly when you say let. Okay, it's looking kind of dumb, right? So we don't want this to work. So I go thumbs down, but right now it is working. And the reason it's working is that an identifier is any letter followed by an alphanumeric. But I don't want identifiers to be keywords. So what I want to do here, make life interesting, is to take all of these things we have over here, print, true, false, let, int, float. Okay, there's going to be a lot of these things over here, right? Float, string, bool, while, if, else. Look, it's green, right? That's what we expect it to be green. So I'm saying identifiers are not keywords because identifiers letters followed by alphanumerics, but not if they're a keyword. So yes, there's a lot of work happening over here. Yes, it takes time, but it is worth it, and it's just the way things are sometimes. Okay, so we have added ifs and whiles and assignments. If we needed to add for loops or indefinite loops, we can do that too. I mean, we could have one of those loop forever statements with breaks in them. I mean, right? We can always add a break statement to go in the middle of our loops, and all we need to do here is to say, yeah, break. Oh my gosh, I forgot to write tests again. This isn't very good. While x is less than 2, break. See, currently it's not passing. Well, nothing's passing right now because I'm an idiot and I got halfway through here. Break with an alphanumeric. And I want one thing that a statement can be is a break. So a statement can be a break. Oh, should be followed by a semicolon, right? And I need to say that this is a break statement. Almost picky, but once you get all that stuff right, you can be very happy about it. So there's a break. And now everything is green. Okay, we have our control statements in there. What's next, you may ask? Well, how about we do functions next? So we'll see you in the next episode where we take care of functions. See you then.